Good morning, and thank you for tuning in for Reliable Sources today. I'm Brian Stelter, coming to you from New York this week, and this morning I have a rare and fascinating interview with a stark prediction about our media future, maybe even our future as a country. The interview is with Barry Diller, a billionaire and a visionary. He co-founded the Fox Broadcast Network, and now he's the chairman of IAC, which controls companies like Match.com, The Daily Beast, and so on and so on. He also has what for him is a relatively small investment in a startup called Aereo. It's the company that uses thousands of old-fashioned antennas to transmit local TV stations via the internet. In some markets, you can sign up for just $8 a month. Now, you don't get cable channels, but you do get the big broadcast networks. And that's why those networks want to kill Aereo. This week, they brought their case against the company to the Supreme Court. Now, as I mentioned here last week, Time Warner, which is the parent of CNN, is not part of the lawsuit, but it is supporting the broadcasters in their effort against Aereo. I was in Washington for the arguments. It was my first time in the Supreme Court building, and it was even more majestic than I had imagined. It turns out it was actually Barry Diller's first time there too. Afterward, he did not speak to the press, so what you're about to see is his first and only interview about the hearing. We started out talking about the last time a major media case came before the Supreme Court. It was the Betamax case 30 years ago, which turned out to be a landmark Supreme Court decision that changed all of our media lives by making it legal to record TV programs at home. I want you to listen to what Diller has to say about how this case could affect all of us too.
I've always thought that Aereo very, very much was simply a technological update to the Betamax case, which is why I think the most interesting way to look at Aereo is to look back and say, what would have happened if instead of the Supreme Court allowing Betamax to continue to live, what if they had shut it down? What would our life be like without a video record? What would our television and communications be like without the videotape recorder?
Or the DVR.
Or the DVR, or all of the technology that followed that.
I know I'd watch a lot less TV for
What
one
if
thing.
that had been shut down? It's almost like saying, when we think about these things, we think, well, what if there was no telephone? What if they never did that thing? In this case, what if, you just can't conceive of it. What if the telephone, one day in its early development, they said, I can't do this. You can't even conceive of what life would be when you look back that far and say, well, the Supreme Court could have, relatively easily, certainly every vested interest at the time wanted to stop it. All of the content owners said, how dare you think you can record our program and not pay us every time? So they could have said no. Well, they didn't. Progress happened. I believe, and I've got an axe to grind, of course, but I believe that Aereo is the same thing. If they stop it, which they very well may, then I don't think it's the end of any world, because we'll probably not really know, because you can't put yourself 20 years, you can't make that leap on a maybe, kind of. But what I think will happen is if it's stopped, it will have profound effects on the development of technology.
So not the end of the world, but very troubling.
Well, yes, look, Aereo is, as a financial issue for my company, is meaningless. We don't have a very big investment. We're a minority shareholder. It is possibly an alternative to a completely closed system, and I like that. I've always liked that in my life.
So if Aereo wins,
That's why I started Fox Broadcasting. As I said, I'd like an alternative to the three networks.
If Aereo wins, you don't think it would hurt the broadcasters?
Well, let me say it this way. I think Aereo will not hurt the broadcasters, for sure. What may happen, though, is that other people will find other methodologies separate from Aereo, or using Aereo as a license or something like that. But they'll find other things to essentially go direct to the consumer based upon the consumer's right to receive free broadcast television without paying a toll, which is their right. I mean, it's, Congress can change the law. And what maddens me about all this, and all this reportage, which I think has been dopey, because the essence of it is that Aereo is essentially simply an antenna device that replaces technologically what you used to have to do to go up to your rooftop and erect a antenna. Now, what the media reportage has been that Aereo is a gimmick. Judge Roberts asked the question, which was, well, you're only doing this to get around the copyright laws.
Yes, I scribbled that quote down. Was he wrong about that?
No, the truth is not only is he wrong, it is what we are doing is complying with the law. So rather than saying it's a gimmick, what we did is constructed a technological advance within law as we understood it. Mm-hmm. I accept that free over-the-air broadcasting is the quid pro quo that broadcasters got for getting free spectrum, which the public owned. And up until technology came along, there was no issue with that, because that's the only way you could get it. Mm-hmm. Cable comes along, all these things comes along, all the interests get involved, all this stuff happens, must-carry happens, retrans, I'm not gonna try and define that for your audience, but all these things happen, right? But the one fundamental of broadcasting since the very beginning is you get, if you can put your finger out there and you're in sight of a transmitter, you can get that programming free, right? Okay. Now, since people did not think at the time, I think they wrote these rules, that in fact people would construct themselves out of used scrap and wires and antenna. They would actually go to a store, buy the antenna, have somebody put it up, service it, do whatever, renew it, whatever, right? So at the time, people could have said, well, that profit must be either profit in there, you wouldn't provide the service. That belongs to the broadcaster? That belongs to the programmer? Well, that's absurd. Well, that's all Aereo is, a technological update to, and a clever one, to me, without question, it's clever, and its technology is quite sophisticated, that does exactly that.
Some of the people covering this story are working for companies that are suing Aereo.
Sure.
They are suing
yes.
the company. Do you think that affects some of the coverage?
All of the coverage was about the questions the judges asked, not about any of the answers given. I think that to concentrate on the questions rather than the answers, what does that do? Well, since all the questions are asked, any question is asked skeptically.
Right.
The questions
right.
to, you were there, right?
Yeah.
Questions to the broadcaster were skeptical.
Yeah, they were pretty tough.
The questions to the Aereo were skeptical.
I thought they were a little tougher on Aereo, though. What did you think?
No, I didn't think so. I mean, I didn't. And again, I'm not objective, but I tried sitting there to listen there. I left saying that, again, I have an axe, but I tried very hard to say, don't apply your axe, just listen and see what you get.
Did you leave more or less confident about Aereo winning?
By the way, it means nothing.
Why is that?
Because nobody knows. You can do all the gaming, and people have done it. And I've read.
You've always said there's no plan B. If Aereo loses the Supreme Court, it's over.
Yeah. Well,
do you think it will lose?
I think there's a 50% chance it'll lose. Of course. Yes. Always, I thought that. But I think I did not think that it would become this important a moment in the world of
yes,
technology.
all of the reporting presented it as Aereo. This case may change the way we watch TV. Now I don't know. Maybe that's overstating.
It's not going to change. When you say change the way we watch TV, Aereo, if it's successful, together with other services, may change and give competition to the closed system of satellite or cable. That's what it may do.
Now all that's left is for the Supreme Court justices to rule, and they're expected to do so in this case in the early summer.